The 2024 Charger Daytona is Dodge's first attempt to push the brotherhood into a new direction. Gone are the days of the fire-breathing Hemi engine dominate the competition, and now Stellantis has 3 options that they have forced upon the US market. But will this gamble work? Or will it bring Dodge to his knees? Because what if I told you that I have selected 3 competitors to this Charger Daytona, and we will see if this Stellantis electrified Scat Pack can even compete. So my 32,005 friends and the 80% of you guys that are subscribed, if you guys want to modify your current Dodge, Ford, GM, or Toyota car, truck, or SUV, my friends at Just Bolt-Ons and Drag Racing Wheels have you covered. Whether you need a tonneau cover to protect items in your truck bed, engine catch cans to keep your fire-breathing Hemi to last longer on the road, or just a new set of Drag Racing Wheels so you can hit the track with. So my guys at Just Bolt-Ons and Drag Racing Wheels, they have you covered with a wide selection of options. And as their new brand ambassador, I have you covered as well with my coupon code BUTTER that you can use at checkout to save up to 15% off your next order. This is the best place online to outfit your car, truck, or SUV at the best prices that just got a little bit better. Now, I want to preface this video by saying that I understand that the 2024 Dodge Charger Daytona Scat Pack is not the top model coming out from Dodge. That would be the Banshee model, which is why I chose the middle of the pack contenders for this video, especially from Tesla, because next year the Banshee will have his hands full with the Tesla Model S Plaid, but the regular Tesla Model S is still a very great contender against the Charger Daytona Scat Pack, and even the Tesla Model 3 Performance Edition. But the Model 3 will be a huge problem for the Scat Pack next year for 2 reasons. Number 1, the Charger Daytona will be detuned in 2025. Stellantis confirmed in their press release that next year, the Scat Pack will not be sold with any direct connection stage kits pre-installed, which means that instead of 670 horsepower, the 2025 Scat Pack will go down to only 595 horsepower before you had to go to direct connection to buy the 2 additional stage kits to jump the power back up to 670 horsepower. And issue number 2, the Tesla Model 3 is getting a performance upgrade to allegedly go around 600 horsepower. But in this video, you'll see that even at its current performance level, it is still a problem with the Scat Pack. The new Tesla Model 3, rumored to be called the Ludacris version, might destroy a Scat Pack once it goes to around 600 horsepower. But we'll find about that when Elon Musk confirms it. So here we go. Here goes my list of vehicles for the Charger Daytona Scat Pack to compete against. I have the 2025 Hyundai Ionic N. I have the 2024 Tesla Model S non-plaid. So I'm not doing Scat Pack versus plaid. This is the non-plaid Tesla Model S version. Then we have the 2023 Tesla Model 3 Performance. Now I'll tell you in a second why I chose the Performance and not the regular Tesla Model 3, because you look down the price, I have no idea how much this Charger Daytona Scat Pack will cost this year. Now I did hear a rumor the Charger Daytona RT is going to be around $52,000. So I had to believe that maybe somewhere within $10,000 the Charger Daytona Scat Pack is going to be. So I'm thinking Scat Pack will be somewhere in that low 60 to mid 60K range. And if that's the case, that's why I picked these particular contenders right here, because the Hyundai Ionic N is supposed to be expected around about $70,000. They don't exactly know yet. And then I have next to my list, like I said, the 2024 Tesla Model S non-plaid that comes in at $75,000. And then we have the 2023 Tesla Model 3 Performance, and that comes in around $58,000. So I have pretty much between the 58 to 60K range, and I have the low 70K range. I figured that I will use mainly Teslas as the competitors because that's where the benchmark is. If you can't beat a Tesla, then I'm sorry to say that these Charger Daytonas, they are failures, because who's going to buy Charger Daytonas when you can probably buy a Tesla for cheaper, smack a Charger Daytona, and probably save more tires? But we'll get to that one in a second. Now, if you look at the powertrain on the next level, The powertrain, all of them are dual motor cars. So no tri-motors like you're gonna have in the Tesla Model S Plaid, no tri-motor that you're gonna see in the Charger Daytona Banshee next year. We're just going strictly dual motor setups. And now we go down to the next bullet point. This is where we have the horsepower. Now this is where the Charger Daytona Scat Pack is gonna be at a disadvantage. For right now, this particular year, the Tesla Model S and the Charger Daytona Scat Pack both have 670 horsepower. The problem is in 2025, that I've said a few minutes ago, that the Charger Daytona Scat Pack will be detuned down to 595 horsepower. These numbers, these 0 to 60s, quarter mile time, those numbers are gonna get worse next year. But for right now, we're gonna go off 2024 numbers with these particular vehicles. So for right now, Charger Daytona Scat Pack is 670 horsepower. Next year, it's gonna be 595 horsepower. The Hyundai Ionic N will be 641 horsepower. The Tesla Model S Non-Plaid, 670 horsepower. And then we have the Tesla Model 3 Performance at only 470 horsepower. But it's tiny, but it's definitely very mighty. Now we look at the battery pack. The Tesla Model S, it has the biggest battery pack at 98 kilowatts. And then the next biggest one is in the Charger Daytona Scat Pack. Not that much of a big of a difference in battery pack size, but you'll see how bad the range is in a few seconds. Now we'll go down to the onboard charger, which basically, converts from your DC to AC and stuff like that. So the Charger Daytona Scat Pack has 11 kilowatt hour. And then of course the Tesla Model S Non-Plaid has the better charger at 16.5 kilowatt hours, which you're going to see in a few seconds what that means in terms of it getting a better charge. And then the Tesla Model 3 Performance has a slightly better one than the Charger Daytona Scat Pack at 11.5 kilowatt hours. And the Hyundai Ionic N just slightly worse than the Charger Daytona Scat Pack. Now we'll go down to the peak charge rate. That's basically like, the most charge that this vehicle can take at once. And that's basically 183 kilowatt hours for the Charger Daytona Scat Pack. And it is by far the worst of all three of these competitors. The Hyundai Ionic can take 238 kilowatt hours. The Tesla Model 3 Performance can take 210 kilowatt hours. And of course, as you can see, the Tesla Model S Non-Plaid takes the cake at 250 kilowatt hours, which means it's going to charge faster. And you're going to see that in the next row. Now, the next row is charger speed, which is, the numbers I can find with how fast this vehicle can charge. Now, the Charger Daytona Scat Pack, I had to kind of play around with these numbers because it doesn't really give you like a real clear indication of how fast it's going to charge. Now, based off my just logic, basically just means for the Charger Daytona Scat Pack that you can charge 156 miles in 30 minutes. Now, I got that number because on the press release, it says that the Charger Daytona Scat Pack can charge between 20 and 80% in 30 minutes. Now, I basically just took the math with the range and basically divided that up. Now, if you look over at the Tesla models, because I have no idea what the Hyundai Ionic is going to be charging at, the Tesla Model S Non-Plaid can do 200 miles in 15 minutes. The Tesla Model 3 Performance, from what I've seen online, said it can charge 80% in 30 minutes of the battery pack. We're gonna go down to curb weight, and this is where things get very, very interesting. The Charger Daytona Scat Pack weighs 5,838 pounds, by far the heaviest vehicle on this list. This vehicle weighs so much, it weighs more than some SUVs now without battery packs in them. If you go look at the TRX weighs around 6,400 pounds. And this car was 600 pounds lighter than a Ram TRX. I mean, I can understand this vehicle weighed about 5,000 pounds, but 5,800 pounds? What are these people thinking? If you go look at a Tesla Model S, and this is a 4-door Tesla Model S, these are 4-door cars. The Tesla Model S weighs 4,500 pounds, and it has a slightly bigger battery pack in it. It has the same dual motors in it, and it still weighs significantly less than the Charger Daytona Scat Pack. That's embarrassing. It weighs what, 1,000 and what? It weighs 1,300 pounds less, even though it has a bigger battery pack in it. Wow, that just show you how bad Stellantis and FCA were at making lightweight vehicles. And we're not even talking about the Plaid version. They're just the regular dual motor version, and it's already killing it. And then we see down in the 0 to 60, this is where it kind of affects it. So you got almost a 6,000 pound vehicle, and the 0 to 60 is only 3.3 seconds. It is the worst one of all these electric vehicles. All these other electric vehicles have better 0 to 60 times. The Hyundai Ionic, 3.1. Tesla Model S, 3.1. The Tesla Model 3, 3.1. And like I said, next year, it's gonna get worse because next year, you gotta spend the extra money to get those stage kits in order to get back up to 670 horsepower. Next year is gonna be detuned down. So what's gonna be next year? 3.6, 3.7, which is gonna get crushed by those other electric cars by Tesla. The 0 to 100 mile per hour time, I could not find that anywhere for the Charger Daytona. And I found that for the Hyundai Ionic at 7.7 seconds. I could not find that for the non-Tesla Model S Plaid. And the Tesla Model 3, I found that at 8.2 seconds. At the quarter mile time at 11.5 seconds for the Charger Daytona Scat Pack. The Hyundai Ionic N says 11.2 seconds. And then the Tesla Model S, I could not find an official reported time by Tesla, but I did see a time slip from somebody who had this vehicle and it did a 10.89, and that's what I saw on the drag slip. And then we have 11.6 seconds for the Tesla Model 3 Performance. And like I said, with the Model 3 Performance, it's gonna get worse next year because that car is gonna go up to 600 horsepower. So it'd be amazing to see what the quarter mile time for the Model 3 Ludacris is gonna do next year. And then we look down at the top speed, not that good. 134 mile top speed, which is worse than the 2024 Demon 170. If you thought the Demon 170 top speed was bad, Dodge has you covered with 134 miles per hour on the production ready version of the Scat Pack. That way you can't do really any running away from the police. But then, you know, this 134 is not really the worst time. The Tesla Model S non-Plaid version is limited to 130 miles per hour. I did not know that. Let's see, the Tesla Model 3, that's 162. The Hyundai Ionic N, that's 162. So I'm kind of amazed that these smaller cars, they have, you know, the better range, even though they're not really the lightest vehicles, because that Hyundai Ionic, that's 4,900 pounds, it's 162, but the 5,800 pound Charger Daytona Scat Pack, that's only 134. You're not doing any street takeovers in the Charger Daytona Scat Pack EV. So you can kiss that one goodbye. And you're definitely not doing it in the RT, because in the RT, you can't do donuts in the RT unless you know how to do all-wheel drive donuts. Because the Hornet RT, not the Hornet RT, but the Charger Daytona RT, in the press release, it says that it cannot disable the all-wheel drive system. Only the Scat Pack and most likely the Banshee are gonna be the only two versions that you can disable the all-wheel drive system for real-wheel drive only driving. Which I'm kind of curious if that is the case and you disable the all-wheel drive system. So that means you're disabling one electric motor. So does that mean that you're going to be doing rear-wheel drive mode at only like 335 horsepower? Because you're losing one motor, so that's half the horsepower right there. Or if there's any, you know, front wheel and rear wheel bias, is that maybe 300 horsepower you're losing? So you're doing donuts and stuff at only 300 horsepower in a 5,800 pound car? I mean, I would love to know. I mean, that's something I would ask if I was a journalist and I was actually, you know, invited to the event. Just saying. And then let's go down to the range. Let's finish off with the range. The range on it is not really that impressive either. Only 260 miles of range with the same battery pack size as the Tesla Model S. Tesla Model S has 402 miles of range. The Charger Daytona Scat Pack only 260 miles of range. The Tesla Model 3 Performance with a way smaller battery pack, 310 miles of range. That's where having lower weight should have been one of Dodge's priority. I'm just sorry, but I mean, I guess it's because, you know, to me personally, I feel as though that the Charger Daytona was basically based off the Maserati Gran Turismo, because I believe that vehicle was in development first and they just basically just reskinned it and made it a Charger Daytona. That's where I made the assumption before I knew that it was actually gonna happen, that the Charger Daytona was gonna have a gas and an EV version, because that car has a gas EV version. And Stellantis already told us that they were gonna basically make all these cars as similar as possible. So there's no way they're going to have these independent vehicles not be related to each other and share a lot of the same components. This Charger Daytona Scat Pack, it just does not compete with these other cars. I mean, I'm sorry. And this right here is like me trying to be fair. This is me being fair with middle of the pack cars. And it's only going to get worse next year, like I said, because the Scat Pack is going to be detuned and powered. These other cars don't have this other stage kit nonsense. Like, this is ridiculous that in an electric car, you got to go buy some daggone crystals in order to jack the horsepower up, rather than just maybe suffer locking the power down for, you know, maybe your kid driving this car. If the price range is around 70K for the Charger Daytona Scat Pack, it'll get crushed by Model S. If it's in the 60K range, it's already getting crushed by the Model 3. The Model 3 has better range, better 0 to 60. There's a quarter mile times is right there neck and neck. It's gonna come down to the driver. Top speed, it'll kill it in top speed. It's way less weight. It's 1,800 pounds less weight. And then it charges faster. I know people say I'm a hater about it, but hey, these are the numbers. These are the facts. The car doesn't beat really anything. I mean, like I said, the numbers are gonna get worse next year. But you guys let me know what you think. Was the Charger Daytona a good idea or not? I mean, Slan's gonna find out that, you know, the only reason why people was buying Dodge cars was because of the Hemi V8 engine, especially the supercharged Hemi V8 engine. There was Challengers and Chargers out before supercharged Hemi V8s was even a thing, and they were not selling like hotcakes. It wasn't until after the Hellcat platform came out that Dodge got popular. And without that platform or a suitable replacement of the platform, because this ain't it. This is not it. The Chargers Daytonas, they're not the most powerful. They're the most heaviest, but they're not the most powerful. They're not the quickest. They don't charge the fastest. So they're like, you know, these watered down, you know, European nonsense cars that they think that we're gonna buy. I just don't see it, man. I just don't see it. But let me know what you guys think. And until the next time, I'm out.
But right now, we're under attack. Your legacy is under attack. We need your help, spiritually, of course, to fight the system, not to comply, but to compete. Because regardless of what kind of power that propels us, this brand must always be pushed forward by the energy and attitude you guys instilled in us.